What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kind of Funny's Toy Story in Review. That's right. We are ranking and reviewing every movie in the Toy Story franchise. Andy, give me some of that Randy Newman.
Man, I've been singing it all morning, guys.
You gotta do it.
Big ass body too. I feel like I perfected it over the last several years.
You nailed it.
You got it.
It's you boy.
Wow.
Getting there, man.
Wow.
Getting there.
Kind of sounds like the friend from Eastbound and Down.
It's like Bob Dylan, kind of. Like
A little
there's
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I'm Tim Gettys. This is Andy Cortez. That is Belinda Garcia over there. Greg Miller, and rounding out the group, Nick Scarpino.
Huzzah.
And my eye is back.
It's good.
And I am back. I had to miss last week's episode, which was such a bummer. But here I am, back again.
right. Holy
You can get the
shit.
show live every Tuesday, twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames at 11 a.m. Or you can get the video later on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. You can also get the podcast. Just search for Kinda Funny Reviews. We're almost done in this Toy Story adventure.
Oh, no.
It's crazy.
Feels like it was just yesterday.
Don't worry, there'll be another one.
Next
Because
week.
even when they end it perfectly, they
All right,
keep
we just
going.
gotta keep going.
They keep
We gotta
going.
just
They keep making them.
ongoing. Today, we are talking about Toy Story 3, released on June 12th, 2010, which is a lot longer ago than
Yeah.
I realized.
Almost 10
Yeah.
years.
This is a movie that I rented on Blu-ray at like the local Blockbuster or some shit like that. Or no, you know what? I Redboxed it. I Redboxed it, watched it alone in my apartment, cried.
Yep.
Cried a bunch.
I watched it at midnight because that was when they had midnight premieres still, like 12:01.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And just like bawling
Right.
with 3D glasses on.
Nothing worse than that.
Directed by Lee Unkrich. Is that how you say his name?
Unkrich.
Unkrich.
Yeah.
That was
Close
wrong.
enough. You're in the
Yeah,
ballpark.
close enough. He co-directed Toy Story 2, Monsters, Inc., and Finding Nemo. Then he made his solo directorial debut with Toy Story 3. And most recently directed Coco in 2017.
Mama Coco.
Both of which won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. It's a big deal.
This is some toy box trivia right here.
It is Toy Box Trivia. Thank you for that. A budget of $200 million and a box office of a staggering $1 billion.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Holy
It's a
shit.
lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
That would make you make another one, I guess.
Yeah, makes sense. Although they were saying that they're not doing sequels anymore, right?
Right.
Like Toy
yeah,
Story
it's
4 is
supposed to
the
be
end
original. It's supposed to be
Wow, what a
originals.
terrible way to end it. This was
Yeah,
perfect.
it's-
This is a perfect end. Oh, I have Forky's lost. It's fucking Toy Story 1 again. Great.
You're going to like it.
You're going to like it.
I hope that I'm totally with you. It's like this is quite possibly the most perfect ending to a series I've ever seen, with the
I
exception
agree.
of Endgame. Where I'm just like, and that's not even the end. So hey, if they can
There
do
you
it,
go.
Toy Story can do it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I hope. I really hope. Fingers crossed, Greg.
Okay.
We'll
Fingers
know in a
crossed.
couple days.
A runtime of an hour and 43 minutes. The longest of the Toy Story movies. Not by that much.
Yeah,
I
what,
feel
10
like
minutes?
They keep adding about 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
Toy Story 4, it's going to be an hour and 53 minutes. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The runtime didn't bother me. Something I did notice about it, though, is there's no musical breaks in this movie. There's no songs.
Yeah, when we get the flashback, lots
There's
are
in the
going
beginning
like right.
and the end.
It's just
but that's
terrifying.
it.
Well, just like, but we get the old song. There's
Right.
no new song. Whereas in the second one, we at least got some new.
The end credits song.
That was
The
one.
We Belong Together in the end credits is a new song.
Well, the end credits, yes.
Oh, but
I'm
like
talking about
through-
we don't
yeah.
get like a music montage of shit
You're right.
happening. You know what I mean? It's the strange things. Gotta love it. Let's get right into. Actually, I want to do some little toy box trivia, right?
right, cool.
Because I feel like if we get into the plot, there's so many voice acting weird little things that I just want to get them out of the way. What's going on?
Oh, I'm taking an allergy pill. I'm sorry. I was
He's
just
throwing
like
his trash
something.
on me. The first time by
yeah.
mistake, then purposely. And it's upsetting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Barbie's voice. Does anyone know who she is?
Yes.
Who?
She's Jodie Benson,
Who is?
the Little Mermaid.
Wow.
I told him that last week
Oh,
when
right.
you weren't here.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
we
right.
forgot though.
She was all
I remember
the Barbies.
when she started talking, I was like, oh, this is important for something.
She was all
I-
the Barbies, and now she is Barbie in this.
The Barbie.
I
The
couldn't
Barbie.
focus on Barbie because when Ken comes on, I was like, is that?
And Nick, who's Ken?
I was like, is that Michael Keaton? as
Yes,
Ken?
it is in fact
So
Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
good. Yes,
Wow.
he's so good. Once you realize that, because I was looking, I had the cast up, and I was like, okay, oh, that's funny. I didn't think it was going to be a big part of it. Then I'm like, that voice sounds really fucking familiar. And then I'm like, yeah, they got Michael Keaton to be Ken.
Yeah.
Wow.
Genius.
So Stretch, that weird purple octopus thing.
Yeah.
Any guesses?
Queen Latifah, is that right?
No.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Tiffany Haddish.
Goldberg, baby.
Oh,
Whoopi
interesting.
Goldberg, the whoops. And then John Morris, who you might not know. He's the voice of Andy, and he was the voice of Andy in all the movies.
Yeah.
Wow, he went through puberty. We grew
He
up
did.
with him.
We grew
yeah.
up with him, man. Yeah,
I
10 years.
didn't really like him.
toys.
Didn't like his voice.
And any of the movies.
I mean, in the most recent one, it was more evident that I like. Oh, okay, I don't like this.
This is a stupid kid they cast,
you,
and I gotta
John
stick it out
Morris.
with them.
Yeah, it's just it was just very like, Mom, we're gonna be fine. Like I just hate that.
They
Like,
didn't give him much to work with. You know what I mean? Like,
Dragon
what
Ball
is his
voice?
motivation?
Maybe you just don't like these movies.
what?
Just kidding.
And then Slinky, since the voice actor died, had to be a new person. Do you guys know who it is?
Oh my God!
Was it the dude from Waterboy?
It was. It was Blake Clare, the old guy
Yeah.
from Waterboy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's like, oh shit, he would replace Ernest. That
Yeah.
makes so much
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that brings me a lot
What's
of
his last
joy.
name?
Claire. Clare.
Blake Clare.
Blake Clare.
Blake Clare.
Yeah, I heard him. He was on an episode of the Comedy Store podcast because he's been a stand-up for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reading into it. I think also the original voice actor of Sid was brought back just to do those little.
Oh, you are correct. Eric Von Detten, Andy
Yeah.
Brinker himself,
Yeah.
did reprise his role as Sid. Did you notice this, Nick?
No, what was
Sid was the garbage
The garbage
truck
dude.
guy. He had the same shirt,
Yes,
same
yeah.
voice actor.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, you know, Sid, a lot of people said Sid could have had a great engineering career for what is that one fateful day.
This is it. He's
When the
able to
toys
exact
came
his
alive.
revenge.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't torture the toys, but you can sure crush them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit me with the plot, Nick.
Toy Story 3 begins. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, in the clouds, just like the very first Toy Story. But instead of Andy's room, we are in the real life Ponderosa, ladies and gentlemen. The cloud starts moving. We get really cool intro credits that are in the cowboy style font. Oh, goddamn you, Greg. God damn you.
I wrote in his notes.
I was like, Andy, no, that's our show. Andy, no, it's great. Then we get the Toy Story logo, which comes up with, and then a nice little branding of 3, finishing the cowboy theme, and then everything kind of goes to the title screen with which burns to reveal we're in a real life train robbery. Mr. P, who is now One-Eyed Bart, is robbing the train with Mrs. P, One-Eyed Betty. It's harder to say than Potato Head. She knocks him off the train.
Yeah.
Woody comes and to save them, of course, and then gets knocked off the train. But who should save him? That's right, Jesse riding Bullseye.
Bullseye voiced by Frank Welker, a.k.a. Megatron.
Yeah.
No shit.
Also worth pointing out here how beautiful everything looks. You
Oh
know what I
my-
mean?
oh
Again,
God,
we get
this
these
movie's
back to back
gorgeous.
to back,
CG
and
go
we
far
talk
here.
so much shit about Toy Story 1.
Yeah.
To get here now, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the proof in the pudding moments is when you see Lotso, and he's so well done. All the fur and everything is so perfectly rendered. It's great. Woody, of course, goes, "Give up, Bart. You've reached the end of the line." And Mr. P goes, "I've always wanted to go out with a bang." And of course, we do the fun little shot where we pan all the way down to the tracks, and there's just a ridiculous amount of dynamite on the tracks that are leading over the bridge. He blows it. Where Woody first looks into the train and goes, "No, the orphans," who are all troll dolls, which is ridiculous and so fun. And then Mr. P blows the thing and then jumps into the Barbie Corvette, which I'm assuming is the Barbie Corvette, right?
Yeah.
With a license plate that says one eye Bart.
Yeah,
Just kind of
great. They also all have eye patches. Like even the aliens.
Even the aliens.
Everyone. All the bad guys have eye patches.
They got to have the eye patches. Woody, of course, has to pick between the orphans and catching Bart, so he jumps on the train and pulls the brake, but it's too late. The train goes over the edge, and we hear a thud. We see a weird blue light, and then suddenly, of course, Buzz Lightyear to the rescue. He lifts
To
the train.
infinity and beyond.
Glad I could catch the train, he says. They chase after the Corvette, and Buzz uses his laser arm to cut it in half. But of course, Mr. P calls in backup. He's got an attack dog with a built-in force field who is Slink,
yeah.
which is nice. And then Woody says, "Well, luckily, I've got a dinosaur who eats force fields," and calls in Rex, who roars. But they all stop when
The
a giant.
Jurassic Park roar.
Is it the giant?
Yeah.
Is it? And of course, they all stop when a gigantic shadow comes overhead. What is that shadow? It's a giant ship shaped like a pig. It's evil. Evil Dr. Porkchop, and he says, "That's Mr. Evil Dr. Porkchop to you." He beams Mr. and Mrs. P aboard and hits the death by monkeys button. Barrel, of course, the barrel of monkeys drops
Horrifying.
and explodes into just a
So many
giant
monkeys.
nuclear cloud of monkeys, which is terrifying. And they're all about to get ripped apart. And then, of course, we cut to they're in the room. They're being played with by Andy, whose mom comes in with a VHS camera, maybe the first ever made. Maybe she's had it for years and needs to upgrade because it's got some of those little lines that go across. It doesn't matter.
I watched I watched the behind the scenes featurette. I'm not sure if it was for Toy Story 3 or not, but they were talking about this intro scene, this whole like Western sort of adventure, and John Lasseter was mentioning how they like to open a lot of their movies showing the characters in their element, doing the thing that they are best at.
Yeah.
And when you look at like the past catalog, a lot of the movies are like A Bug's Life, Monsters Inc. A lot of them show. Yeah, well, yeah, it's really sad.
Bad joke.
Yeah. Down. You brought it down
Yeah,
right there.
I did, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, yeah, it's just really cool that they like showing their characters kind of doing their thing and showing what they're best at.
Well, it's cool because the second one was like Buzz, and we were like a sci-fi type thing, and now we're like in the Western, and a lot of the dialogue is the same as in the first Toy Story. You know, when he's playing and he says like, "There's a robbery," and he's like saving Bo Peep. It's a lot of the same dialogue, and then they just put it to life.
It's so perfect. I don't think they could have opened this movie better. Because the first one, it was just him playing with the toys. The second one was them doing the video game with the Buzz Lightyear. This kind of meshed it all together and just made it feel so real. And I love the reveal of it being a videotape that the mom's like doing, because it's just like the sense of time that we get of like, wow, Andy's old now. It's just like, it's even the beginning is such a heart wrencher where you're just like,
now that
man,
you know,
like they went from this to not being played with. And I just like the reveal of the Dr. Porkchop, like giant flying airship. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah, very, very well done. Of course, we kind of go through Andy a little bit through the years. Now with this one VHS tape, Mom apparently has just been holding this thing down, capturing Andy's childhood. And it's revealed that Andy has no real friends, zero friends at all, just his toys, which is, he's gonna have a tough time in college. Let's just put it that way. Of course, it fades to black really creepily, very ominously, and then pops back up. We were playing by the way, the song from Mulan the whole time here.
I hate you.
Fucking asshole.
And it fades to black and then fades back up, and
It
everyone.
ends very scarily. Yeah,
It's creepy. It's very ominous. Everyone's in a dark box, the toy chest rather. We learn. Woody tells everyone to get in their places. Jesse wants to cozy up with Buzz. He is flustered, which is nice. I like this like light flirtation they have the entire time, which
they
then turns into some fucking later. Yeah, they're salsa dancing and banging by the end of this movie. The army men, of course, drag a sock into the room with something heavy in it. When the gang gets into the chest, it's revealed that it's cell phones. Buzz has a number written on his arm. They dial it. It rings another cell phone that's in the chest. Can't quite remember how they both got it in there, but it doesn't matter. Someone comes.
They have the house phone, and then they have Andy's phone.
Oh, okay. Got it. Someone comes to the door of Andy's room and opens the chest to see what's ringing. It's Andy. Now he's 17 years old. He picks up the phone with Rex attached. Rex kind of hangs onto it. He looks at Rex for a second, then tosses him back in. Calls back to his sister. Hey, Molly, stop going in my room. Stop screwing with my stuff. Of course,
she finally doesn't look horrified.
Yeah, she finally yells back, and now, of course, she's older as
Her
well.
hair moves.
Yeah. She says it wasn't me. Everyone's older. Nobody wants to play with the gang anymore. Listen, the prospector warned us about this day, and nobody listened. And so they reap what you sow, Greg.
I know.
You reap what you sow.
You
type in my documents, I start typing in your Twitter. That's how it goes.
No, it's not the same. You don't even know how to use your Twitter, let alone my Twitter. No, that's the whole thing of this movie, right? Is the prospector wasn't wrong.
No.
Lotso, not wrong. You know what I mean? Like, there's two sides.
Of course,
here.
Greg Miller would identify with these fucking villains. I hate it.
Just saying, they were right, and now they have a decision to make. And you know what I mean? Who's right? Who's wrong? Is it Buzz's team that's right, or is it Woody's team that's right? You know what I mean? Who wants to be thrown away?
War
It's
never
automatic.
changes, dude.
It's true.
hard. Maybe the toys just need to finally rally and take over the world because they can. They live forever, and they're pretty much impervious to everything, except for heat. Heat seems to be the one thing that's hard for them, as we'll see at the end of this. Of course, this was Operation Playtime. We all knew it was a long shot, and it didn't work. The job wasn't about getting played at. Wait. Okay. So again, it's revealed like, Woody's theme always like, hey, look, it's not about being played with. It's just about being there for Andy when he needs us. But guess what? It's the time to close up shop, man. Even Woody can't buy into his own bullshit anymore. He's like, you know what? We got to just prepare for Operation Attic. We're all going to the attic. We're gonna get bundled up, and then maybe one day Andy will have a kid, and he'll bring us back out to get played with. It's a very dark, dark movie.
Yeah. So incredibly
their options
dark.
are either getting thrown away or getting bagged up forever to live in the darkness of the attic and maybe forgotten, or best case scenario, die in a house fire.
And they kind of accepted their fate pretty quickly. I feel.
Very
They're toys,
quickly.
man. They're not people.
It's scary.
You know what I mean? We like to
sad.
think of these things when we look at them and think, you're a little person, but you're not a little fucking person.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I feel
You're
like
a
they've
toy.
had 10
You're a
years
creepy little
to
toy.
prepare.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree with that.
I mean, you figure maybe Andy, because again, zero friends. After he's done furiously
He's just
masturbating
whacking
to whatever
off.
porn,
That was the
he can
thing,
see.
right? One of the
Pulls out
things
his
these fucking toys have seen and heard
Oh, horrible.
my
Nick,
God.
what do you think he sounded like?
Every
Why
single
do you sound
time.
like Mystique?
He just lines up all the toys and makes them watch.
Oh my God.
Of course. Read the fucking
Come here, Ham. All right, Buzz says
Buzz, use your karate
we're
chop.
going into attic mode. Abuse your karate chop. That's an extra type screen.
You don't have to add on.
I like the pain. I like the pain.
Oh my God! Everyone, of course, this is a very depressing, sad scene, punctuated by Sarge and the army man walking up to the windowsill and going AWOL, and it's just really, really sad. And they're just like, "Where are you guys going?" And they go, "Listen, man, we all." And this is hilarious for me because I was like, "Yeah, these were the first probably toys that I threw away because they were like the not
They're
as coolest
plastic,
toys.
like,
Yeah,
they're
little piece of shit
small.
plastic toys." He was like, "Everyone knows that when the garbage bags come out, army men are the first to go. So, and our mission is done." And then he turns around, and this is like what I teared
What
up.
a commentary on society.
He turns around. He says, "Let's face it, when the trash bags come out, the army man guys are the first to go." He turns around and says, "It's been an honor serving with you all." And then the parachute guy grabs him around the waist and he just jump up. It's awesome.
quickly.
And then the other guy, just the guy in the back, is like, "Good luck," and then
Yeah.
jumps out too. And I'm like, "Where the fuck are these guys going?"
He's a dick,
like,
man.
what assholes?
He's been quiet that whole time under Sarge's boot, and here he is being a dick.
Everyone starts freaking out because they brought up the concept of being thrown away. It says, and Woody's like, "No one's getting thrown away. We've lost a lot of toys along the way. I know we have, like Slink and Etch." And then he has a moment where he has to admit that Bo Peep is gone as
Slink,
well.
Yeah.
Oh, Slink is still there.
The little
Etch,
penguin.
Wheezy.
Wheezy.
Oh, Wheezy, that's
Wheezy,
right.
Etch, and Bo Peep.
I don't need to fix that.
Well,
But,
Wheezy,
Hold on.
Wheezy
That
closed the
Bo Peep
movie
moment
last.
though.
Yeah.
Like
Even Bo.
damn.
Yeah.
Like that was just such a great way to deal with loss and just show like a real moment without having to show too much.
Yeah.
One line dialogue.
He
So
tells
good.
he tells everyone they're going to stay together in the attic, or it'll be warm and cozy. And someday, if we're lucky, Andy will have kids of his own, and they'll want to play with us. And Mrs. P has to find her other eye, which is this is a fun thing. She's like, "Wait, where was my other eye?" She covers first eye and says, "Where is it?" "Oh, it's in some place dark and dusty," and that's fun. We think that's just a little fun, silly thing, but that
Little
comes up later,
foreshadowing.
which is great. And Ham, let's see, Ham has a great line where he's like, "I'm going to go see how much I'm going for on eBay." Which is funny. Woody takes one last look at the room and he sees a picture of Andy in his high school graduation day. He lifts it and sees the older picture of Andy behind it when Andy was young, surrounded by his toys, with Woody and Buzz in each of his hands. The real tearjerker moment
Jeez,
here.
yeah.
Really, really sad. Just saying again, you can't go home. You can never go home. That's the
So
theme.
real quick, I'm just gonna say this. If you want to know all the Easter eggs, go look at a YouTube video. There are too many Easter
So
eggs in
many.
this movie. Every single frame has some reference to other Pixar movies.
The number,
or where
the Pixar.
numbers
What's the
and
number they
things.
always use?
A113.
Yeah.
Like at this point, there'd been so many Pixar movies. Like back when it was Toy Story 2, it was like, oh, that's cute. There's a Bug's Life reference. Now it's just like there's
Put 'em all
10
in.
movies they're referencing in every damn scene.
Yeah,
It's
we keep
insane.
referencing that Milan movie, which is crazy. Family comes back in, and Molly, of course, is like trying to take dibs on all of her older brother's stuff, including the stereo. She makes fun of Andy for still having toys. Andy's mom wants Andy to put things in two boxes, the attic or trash, or there's another box, I guess, for college as well. She gives Molly a box for Sunnyside Daycare and says, Molly, you got too many toys. You got to throw some stuff out. So Molly grabs one of those little like xylophone things and then looks at her Barbie, and this is a heartbreaking moment too, and just goes, throws it in the box, picks up a tween magazine, just showing that she, in
She has
fact, is
headphones in.
Yeah,
She don't care.
she's becoming a teenager as well, and is going to start leaving those things behind. Ham, of course, wants dibs on the Corvette, which
The
is a
girl
nice little
from
callback.
Finding Nemo that terrifies them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Darla in the aquarium. She's on the teen magazine.
Weird.
That's hilarious.
That's really weird. Like an
of course.
older version of her?
Yeah.
Weird. Wow.
Mom's doing what moms do best. You got too much crap in the room. You got to start making some decisions. What are you going to do with these old toys? Should they donate them? Should they try to sell them online? And Andy gets pissed at his mom and says, "Mom, no one's going to want these old toys. They're junk."
Damn.
Right?
Mom,
Of course.
nobody's going to want these old toys. They're junk.
They're junk, Mom. Oh, Mom, I need to Mom, close the door. She gives Andy till Friday. Says anything that's not in the attic
Just at
box
a
or
moment's notice.
we got to get this kid some friends. I know, right? Stop furiously beating himself.
How are you making the saddest movie the most perverted? I don't know how you do
Belinda. She gives Andy till Friday. Anything that's not in the attic box or packed for college is getting straight up thrown out. Andy, of course, takes a moment to reflect and then opens the toy chest. He takes a trash bag out and starts filling it with his old toys. Clearly not listening to his mom. I guess why put it in trash? Put it in the fucking attic box. You're an idiot. He puts Woody in the college box and throws Buzz into the garbage bag. Woody jumps out of the chest chest after them. They think they're going to get thrown out, but Andy's actually putting them in the attic. He's getting them prepped for that. Of course, Molly, being the petulant little sister, distracts him, and the bag accidentally gets knocked back by the stairs. I always thought the cool stairs leading up to the
attic
thing was a
stairs.
cool thing. Yeah, ever since Christmas Vacation where he gets locked up there,
Sure.
that was always a fun thing for me. Never had those.
You
though.
never had those?
No, we
Both
had
houses
like
had 'em.
I think
Or I
I
guess
don't
one.
think we had stairs. We had a thing where you take out a light. And then there would be the attic, but you'd have to have a ladder. that would
National
go up to
treasure.
it.
Nicolas
It was really
Cage
cool.
type stuff.
And terrifying up there. Mom, of course, finds the thing, a trash bag, and goes, "Oh, it must be clearly trash because it's a trash bag. I gave this kid fucking clear instructions, and this kid is an idiot. He deserves everything that's got coming to him. All the
Constantly
rejection
masturbating.
If
college.
he ain't beating off, he's
Oh
not paying
god,
attention
this
to
kid!
anything.
The whole room smells sticky.
Just
Of course, Woody to the rescue gets a bright idea. That's going outside. They're gonna get thrown out. Who do we call? Buster. That's
Oh, boy,
right.
Buster.
Whistles for Buster. And Buster's,
so
Buster's now
great.
17 years older and a little more worse for the wear. Some say that once your wiener dog gets to this age, just let him go. Others say let's spend thousands of dollars just keeping this dog. Let's keep this dog going.
Portillo's in better shape than Buster.
Yeah,
all right.
you can keep him active. He's not chubby. Portillo's in good shape.
Buster looks like a
again,
reanimated
though.
corpse.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
sad was this?
It's
like this,
great.
This fucking movie. It's
dog's
relentless.
He looks great though.
Everything dies.
He does look great. Unlike his first debut. You're
Not great.
What the fuck is that?
He was just smooth.
Mom takes the bag out to the curb, and of course, there's a garbage man just waiting down the, approaching like 4 blocks down.
Sid,
And
baby.
it's Sid, baby. Before Woody can cut them free, the garbage man puts them in the truck and smushes them, and it's horrifying. Thankfully, we've seen that they've actually escaped, and they're walking back into the garage underneath the cover of one of those recycling, like the plastic recycling bins, which is cool.
And the amount of times that these toys have done stuff on their own. Like, we've seen 3 snippets of Andy's life. Think about like the other 12 years that we missed in between.
Well, it was covered in Toy Story 3. Sorry, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, there you go. You don't know. You're not a real fan. You don't know all the
They
information.
went on adventures with Sora and Donald and
They
Goofy.
did.
But
Different.
the amount of times that Andy would have been really confused by all of the shit that was happening in his house. The same thing that happened to Sid. Like, I feel like Andy had to have experienced something like that, where he walks in and they're in a different spot in his room. He's like, "I'm going fucking crazy, dude. I
Jesse
put
and
him right
Buzz are
there."
just fucking.
Yeah, dude. Anyway,
Tasty. Back.
They're all good about getting to their old positions.
Yeah, they're professionals at this. They're good. This is what they were
they're
made for.
escaping right now. Like,
Hey, this is one of the rare occasions. This is one of the 3 times they've had to do something like this.
That's true.
only 3 times.
I mean, everything else is mundane. You know?
They're all a little bit pissed off that he threw him out, and Woody, of course, is like, no, he wasn't trying to throw you guys out. He's not calling you guys junk. He was actually trying to put you in the attic. They don't necessarily believe him.
Once again,
As
Mr.
usual.
Potato Head.
Fuck
Being
him.
a
Just a
fucking
dick.
asshole.
You know
It's
what I
like,
mean?
bro,
Asshole. I'm
You need to
saying.
chill.
Yeah.
Okay?
Every fucking movie, the same plot. Nobody believes Woody when they should believe Woody. You know what I mean? Bullshit.
Except
That
for
was
the
the
first
most
movie when
Gia thing you've
they
ever
should
said.
not have trusted Woody because he was
You know
just
what?
an
But if
asshole.
it
I
was
just saw Gia right there. You need to chill.
Of course, Jessie breaks the
Yeah,
mood
that's
because
a
she
lot.
has spotted the box in the back of Mom's car that's going to the Sunnyside donation area, and they all climb in. And Woody tries to get them to stop. He's like, no, he was trying to put us in the attic. We got to be there for Andy. And they're like, we're not listening to you anymore. You're not our leader anymore. Mr. Potato Head, clearly the guy that has his shit together. Before any of this can come to a head, though, Mom shuts the door to the hatchback to the car and drives off. And of course, in the box, Barbie is just there sobbing because Molly has thrown her away.
she's the only legitimate one there that's been
Yeah.
tossed out, you know?
Yeah, and she's like, she has a great line. She's like, we've been growing apart for years, and it's just like, it's really, really sad.
I love Barbie's character in this. Every line she has is just so fun.
Woody, of course, tries to come up with a plan to like sneak under the seats, and then when they drive it back, we'll sneak out and get back into the attic, and no one wants to hear it. They're like, listen, it's fucking over, man. We're going to this place. We're going to get kids. We're going to play with us there. This is going to be a much better place. And, you know, he's like, listen, this place is the daycare place is a place for sad, lonely, washed up toys. As soon as you guys see, you'll be begging to get home. Of course, he doesn't necessarily believe this himself because he kind of knows the other shoe is dropped. Mom drops off the box and has a nice little chat with the woman there, who I think is Bonnie's mom, but I'm not quite sure. I can't remember that. Carries the box into the back room where they peer out of the handle, from the handle, like the little handle hole. And at first, everything looks great. There's just a tons of kids there, and they're playing with toys, having fun, but they're still a little skeptical. Maybe the toys here will be jealous of new arrivals. Rex gets excited and knocks over the box. Like, I want to see, knocks over the box, and as they come up and we see what's going on.
Jared Petty.
Breaking chairs left and right.
Oh, retro video game shop.
It's crazy. I'm in Japan. Of course, they pop up, and when they get their wits about them, who do they see? All of the toys lined up. And the toys
Stoked to see
are
them.
very excited to see them. The Jack in the Box pops out with a nice welcome
Subverting.
sign.
That's actually Lee
Expectations.
Uncrich's voice saying
is
new
it?
toys. Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's
awesome.
him.
New toys. Everyone meets a counterpart of theirs, which I thought was cool. They have a great little moment where everything just looks hunky down. Like Rex is reunited with a bunch of dinosaurs. Buzz meets a futuristic robot. The aliens see a claw toy and go, the claw. And so for a second, everyone thinks, hey, this is going to be good. And then, of course, who should back that up? Lotso Huggy Bear, or Lotso for short, played by the one and only Ned Beatty from what movie?
Superman 1 and Superman 2 briefly.
That is correct. That is very, very correct. Also, Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield. He plays the Dean.
Otisburg!
He plays Dean Martin in that movie,
Did you see
which
they're
was a
bringing
joke.
Back to School back as a series now?
I hope so. Because that
that's-
movie didn't get its comeuppance.
Thank you.
He tells them that they'll get play. He's like, this place is heaven. You guys are going to get play with 5 days a week. And then Woody goes, well, what about when the kids get older? And he's like, when the kids get older, a whole bunch of new kids come in. It's just, this is heaven. You are in heaven. You're ready to rock and roll, right? Lotso, of course, calls his second in command to come show them around, which is, of course, Ken, played by the one and only Batman, Michael Keaton.
The one and only Batman, Michael Keaton.
And then we get
The only Batman there
First
was.
off, I just want to give a shout out to this character and how well Michael Keaton plays this. The Ken character is by far the standout character in this whole movie, in my opinion. And then he sees the second he sees Barbie, and they have a connection, and they have that great dialogue where he's like, "We just look like we were made for each other." So good. Of course, Ken has the dream house that we're going to go into a little bit later, which is
Calls it Ken's Dream House.
Ken's dream house, which is so fucking good. He shows them around the workshop where they get fixed. He shows them Ken's dream house, which includes a whole room for trying on clothes, which Barbie just thinks is great. This is just fucking everything. Lotso shows them to the caterpillar room where they'll be staying. We meet the freakishly big baby. That's like the gatekeeper
Big
between
baby.
the two rooms, which I always thought those baby dolls were fucking with the eyes that tried to open and shut, but they never did it right.
Creepy.
Just the creepiest thing.
The creepiest.
Stop giving
Why
those
would
to
they
children.
exist? And then they poop sometimes. You're like, why would you do that?
Well, so does Kevin.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no.
Different baby.
You feed the fucking baby.
We also meet the Fisher Price chatter telephone, which is going to come in later, which is the cute little thing that like rams into Woody,
Love
who's
it.
kind of trying to warn him, but we don't really get that. He could probably just have used his fucking voice, but we'll figure that out later. Ken, of course, invites Barbie to live in the dream house, and he says, "I know it sounds crazy. Heck, you don't know me from a G.I. Joe. But when I look at you, I just feel like," and they both say it together, "we were made for each other." And she says, "Yes, I'll go back and live with you." And they hop on the back of the truck and bang out. The group seems really happy. Even Woody has to admit it's nice here, but they need to go home. And Jesse and everyone else begs them to stay, but he won't. He's like, "Look, we have a kid, Andy, and if he wants us to go to college with him or stay in the attic, that's what we're going to do." Buzz, of course, tries to break it down one last time. He goes, "Our mission is done. Our mission with Andy is done." But Woody's not. And, Jesse says, "Woody, wake up. It's over. Andy's all grown up." Woody calls them selfish and basically lays down a real hard guilt trip. So this is it after all we've been through. And Buzz holds out his hand. And instead of shaking it, Woody just grabs his hat and tilts
throwing
it.
some shade.
Just says, "You all a bunch of bustas, man." Bullseye, of course, tries to follow
Yeah, he
him, but
does.
Woody's like, "No, why would you come with me? Don't." I guess.
But
you
who's
stay here."
right and who's wrong, guys?
I mean, I think that Buzz is right on this one because Andy's going to college.
Yeah.
Why don't you stay and play? All outward appearances stay in the caterpillar room until, of course, we all know it becomes a house of horrors in about 5 minutes. And this is another reason why you never have kids. Just never have kids. You have dogs, and then when the dog goes a little bit bad, what do we do?
Let it
Throw
go.
him out the window.
Throw him out the window.
Exactly.
Dog goes a little bit bad.
Exactly.
It's a little stale.
From the toys' point of view, like Andy chose Woody over them, so of course Woody wants to go back because he's going to go to college.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's getting the better end of the deal.
Right,
The
yeah.
other ones are just going to be stuck in the attic,
Right.
possibly not having any human interaction for decades.
Forever.
Right? Yeah.
Meanwhile, Woody gets to watch Andy for many more years.
Yeah.
Masturbate
Unless
more.
Andy has unprotected sex in college, right?
Which is a
then
possibility.
Woody is left in the infant's arms as it's left at a fire station. As a
Whoa.
safe zone.
Oh my God.
Toy Story 4, everybody. Let me write it. This baby lives in a fire station, all right? They call him Big Red.
I just want a prequel about
Oh
the
my
mule
goodness.
incident.
Oh my God, with the dad. That's why she holds onto that VHS camera so long. It was his.
make a
That's what he was
She has
filming.
the evidence.
He was working on a weird horse sex tape. God, you did that. You know what I mean?
That's your
A
graphic
horse sex
novel.
tape.
You have to do a spin-off
Yeah,
graphic novel.
yeah, totally,
you got
totally.
it.
So Woody, of course, sneaks out, and we have a great moment where he sees the janitor coming, and he like lays down, and then as the cart goes over him, he disappears because he's holding on to the bottom of it. Really, really cool. Instead of
Classic
wheeling
Toy
him
Story
out, though,
maneuver.
the janitor wheels him into the bathroom, and Woody's like, "Shit, this sucks." Goes in one of the stalls and looks up and sees an open window, and then realizes he has to climb on the toilet, and he has a fun little part where he puts a little piece of toilet paper down on it first, which is good. Climbs up there, and as he's climbing up, he looks over into the mirror and sees his reflection, and starts to freak out because the janitor can see him, and we get a moment where it's like, "Oh shit, finally." Dumb shit human beings realize that toys have come alive and they're going to kill us. We have to kill them all first. Similar to Terminator. Doesn't matter. And of course, he's not looking at Woody, though. He's looking at a smudge on the mirror. And Woody gets away scot-free. Climbs up to the top of the roof.
Before then, the shout out to the whole scene of him running on the toilet paper and falling down and stopping himself and getting back up. I like that.
Beautifully animated.
That was fun. Goes up to the top of the roof, looks out over the playground, doesn't realize how he's going to make it over the hill, or excuse me, over the wall until he looks back and finds a kite, strings himself to it, runs off like it's a hang glider, and then does the cool thing where right as he's about to miss it, he like lifts his legs so he can go right over it, lands on the grass very safely, of course, thinking he's good. Then a gust of wind kicks him back up. I think he loses his hat at this point.
Utter chaos. He lands in the tree.
Lands in the tree. That's right.
Whole string
String
loses
comes
the hat.
down, and then who finds him? Of course, Bonnie, who is an adorable little girl, and she finds him and takes him off and pulls a little drawstring, and he goes, I think it was like reach for the sky.
Yeah.
Is what it says. She puts him in the backpack and goes on. Of course, his hat is left behind, so we don't know that. Meanwhile, let's see. Back in the caterpillar room. Let's see. It's time to get places. The bell rings. The kids are about to come back in. Let's see. Sorry, I think I lost myself.
All the toys hide.
All the toys
All the
hide.
other
Yeah,
toys hide.
Buzz is seeing everybody like hide under the shelves, and
The
he's
toys
like,
that
something's
hide
up.
under the shelves, like the first ones we see hide, that kind of like jump back from the thing, like underneath it, are from Tin Toy, which was the original Pixar demo for Toy Story.
Oh, right.
terrifying. And this is again the scene that I saw when I was young and solidified the fact that I will never have children, and I will deny that I was ever even a child. This is how terrible these toddlers are to these toys. They're just torturing everyone. And it's terrible. And then we get a nice scene juxtaposing that. We're back at Bonnie's house, and she's playing like a coffee. It was fun. It was a coffee party, actually, not a tea party, which I thought was kind of nice.
Yeah, she's a pretty advanced kid.
Yeah, I like
some of the
that.
scenarios that they were going with, I was like, I forgot exactly what they were saying, but like, oh, is this one or this one? And both of them, like, how the hell did she come up with that? Like, that's,
Of course. Go ahead.
Wait, when she's like a Parisian cafe or
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
I think that. Remember, it's immediately followed by we do a lot of improv here. I think that's
Yeah.
her,
That's
the
them just having
dinosaur
fun.
justifying what
Got
they're
it.
doing.
Okay.
Yeah. Of course, Bonnie is just adorable. She's like, "Don't drink too much coffee, or I have to pee. Oh, I have to pee right now." She goes away, and then of course they start talking. And you can tell that Woody's sort of like, he's like kind of falling in love with Bonnie here, and this
Like,
little
all
bit
right,
like this
man.
might be a new kid, and it's kind of nice. And then
Kids are great.
What's that?
Kids are great. You ever seen one?
again, it just you ever seen a kid? They're great. Of course, back in the caterpillar room, the toys are just fucking everything up, and they look
Who
like
gets their head dipped in paint? Was it Jesse?
Jesse.
Jesse gets
Yeah.
painted
Yeah,
with.
he's
So
nothing but
horrible.
action.
But
The
that-
worst
it's
was
that
Ham.
shot-
Is like they were just putting glue and glitter and
Oh, God. But
in
the
the
shot of
hole.
Buzz, that's
Oh.
like you see his face.
Yeah.
No, the worst is the mouth where the tongue is like all over the plastic. Oh,
The toys, of course, look like they lost at the end of a 5-round bloodbath. They just got the shit handed to them. The toddlers don't know how to play with them. They're not the right age range. They should be back in the butterfly room. And Buzz, of course, becoming the leader, says, "I'm going to go talk to Lotso. There's been a terrible mistake.
Remember,
I'm
he
going to
got
talk to Lotso."
thrown up there, got to see into the butterfly room, saw the other kids playing nicely
Right,
with their
nicely.
toys.
Which is total bullshit as well, because those kids are fucking monsters
Kids
as
are,
well.
they would have been. good
They're
in the
cramming
butterfly
those
room.
toys in every orifice. They know.
I also like the. It was subtle, but when the kids run in, how Buzz puts his dome back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just laying there.
like getting ready for a
yeah,
fight.
He knows it's about to go down.
Buzz wants to talk to Lotso about a transfer so they can get out of that room. They try to get out of the room, but the door is locked. We get a fun scene where Buzz has to get up to the top of the window, and he does all the
It's old
acrobatic
hat,
stuff.
man. He knows.
Yeah,
He
it's
knows
really
how to
cool.
do this. They know what to do.
Of course, as he gets up there, he overhears some of the toys as they're passing, just talking shit about them. Like, I hope they had a good playtime, all that stuff. And we're starting to get that this place is not exactly
This is a prison.
what it's supposed to
Sinister
be.
things afoot.
Let's see here. We get another fun scene. Excuse me. We also get another great scene of Ken and Barbie, and he goes, "I love." Where they're going back and forth saying, "I love you," and then he goes, "Now you start. I love you." He's different every time. It's so good, fucking so good, and it just makes me love Michael Keaton even more that he did that. Buzz sneaks around until he gets to the vending machine where Ken and the other toys are. He sees them sneaking in, so he goes in. They're having a meeting at the top of the vending machine where they're playing like roulette with one of those kids, the pull toys. Where the thing would go like, what is it? Speaking.
It's like
What the
it's
heck
like
was
a
that toy?
Duck Duck Goose thing.
Yeah, that's what it was.
They're gambling.
They are talking, and this is kind of where we get the lowdown of what's happening in there. The new toys are totally disposable. They're talking crap about them, and then Buzz decides he has to go warn them. But of course, who is right behind him?
Baby.
That just giant thing, the giant horrifying thing.
What a jump scare moment.
Yeah, it's terrifying. He throws
Every
it back
time,
on.
every time
And this
baby's
is where
there, it's so scary.
It's terrifying. And then, of course, Ken gets a little ominous here, and he's like, we got to take him to Lotso. Back in Bonnie's room, Woody tries to sneak out, but the other toys want to stop him. He shows them his foot that has Andy's name on it. They can't read it because they read it backward. And they're like, I think it's like Yanda, whatever it is.
Yeah.
He needs to get back to Andy, and they offer to help with the use of the computer. Back in daycare, Ken is about to torture Buzz when Lotso comes in and frees him, and he goes, FAO, my Schwartz, this isn't how we treat friends, which I thought was a cute little line.
Yeah.
Buzz tells him there's been a mistake. We respectfully request a transfer. Lotso is like, hey, you're clearly a leader, and you belong here. I'll grant that request. And of course, Buzz goes, great, I'm going to go tell my friends. And Lotso goes, oh, no, they got to stay in there because someone has to be fodder for those kids. And Buzz goes, I'm sorry, then I got to go with them. We're family. And Lotso repays this by just calling him the bookworm. He's like, I got you right now. They put him back in the torture rack.
Horrifying.
Or back in torture scene and calls the
Scary.
bookworm. Of course, the bookworm, I love this character, has all of the instruction manuals for all the toys.
Is this
And he
a
goes in-
perfect movie?
It's
I think
great.
this is a
It's really
perfect
great.
fucking movie.
Because of course they would have that because through the years all of these toys would have come through and they would have kept
Right.
all the adults like to keep instruction manuals, myself
So
included.
smart. Yeah.
Very, very cool. They figure out that they can unscrew Buzz's back panel and reset him from play to demo. And when they reset him to demo, he goes back to how he was out of the box where he thinks he's a space soldier.
You can tell they love like this diluted Buzz because they bring him back in different versions every movie.
It
Like
must be
last
so
one was
fun
the-
for Tim Allen
Yeah.
to play as well.
Yeah.
Because you get to be the heel.
and all
a
the
little bit
lines
there.
you get to write for him. Great.
Back in the caterpillar room, they're trying to figure out what happened to Buzz. Mrs. P again takes her eye off and like puts it under the door to try to figure out what's going on. Instead, she sees Andy with her other eye because she's looking through the wrong eye. He's back in the house. Andy and his mom are arguing about where the bag went that was supposed to go into the attic. He's looking for them. This is terrible. They finally realize that Woody was correct. In fact, they were supposed to go into the attic. They've made a terrible mistake. They're in a living hell of their own making. Again, if they'd have just listened to the prospector, none of this would have happened.
Just listen to Woody. Maybe
listen to
learned
Woody.
anything. Had some character development for Mr. P.
Exactly. Of course,
Instead
it's,
of him being Mr. S.
what a dick. What a, Mr. D.H.
Yeah.
Mr. Dickhead.
I understood, man. I got it.
We
He
got
sucks.
Lotso and the gang busted and tell them that they're not going anywhere. Jesse tells them to try and stop them, and that's when we see Bad Buzz come. And this is terrifying. This is like when in Superman 3, when Superman was bad, and you're like, no one can stop him.
Like in Justice League when Superman was bad.
It's exactly like in Justice League. More like Superman
For
3,
a
though.
second, you know what I mean?
Not like
He was
Superman
pissed
3.
off.
Dude.
Then they brought Lois in, remember?
He was pissed off.
That's a great scene. Remember when he's got everybody? He's like, and then the Flash comes around. Like if he looks at the Flash
Only
like,
good part of the whole movie.
He kicks the shit out of all of them and puts them into cages. And of course, Jesse, this is a great moment. Jesse tries to plead with him, but Buzz says he's immune to her bewitching good looks. So even in brainwashed state, he's still in love with her. Lotso, let's see. Buzz explains the rules. Anyone tries to pull any shit, they got to spend the night in the box. And we see them as sort of punishment for Mr. P standing up to them. They grab Mr. Potato Head and they throw him in the box, which is the outdoor sandbox. And it's just terrifying. It's basically like a solitary confinement box that you'd see in a POW camp. Horrible. Lotso tells them that they play by the rules and work their way up. They can have a great life. If not, bad things will happen. And he throws Woody's hat on the floor to show them like what happens to someone who tries to escape. Of course, bluffing because we know Woody is back at Bonnie's room where he finds Andy's address using the computer. And guess what? It's right around the corner. Bonnie and Andy.
So Trixie gets the AIM message, right?
Really cute.
Is it implied that she's talking to Rex?
No,
No, different dinosaur.
she's
Just
talking
a
about a different
dinosaur down the street.
I think she was just like she had a booty call. I think.
Yeah,
Because
because
later
how would
at
Rex-
Andy's place.
How would Rex be messaging her right that moment? Because the message
Right.
pops,
You're right, you're
pops
right.
up like it
Yeah,
happened.
something on
yeah,
a phone or a mobile device.
Yeah, I think
Plus,
she's
she's an
just
idiot.
banging somebody. Like,
Another dino down the block.
Yeah.
Cool.
Shout out to the Totoro toy in,
Yes.
in
Yes.
Bonnie's house too.
Awesome.
So as Woody goes, great, it's right around the corner. I'm going to take off. Thank you guys so much for your help. By the way, if you see any of my friends from the Sunnyside daycare, tell them I said what's up. And they go, and they're like, wait, how do you know about that place? And he's like, oh, I escaped that place. And she goes, what do you mean? It's like, he's like, I left that place. She goes, you escaped? And he goes, what do you mean escaped? And she goes, oh, that place is a fucking living hell nightmare run by just this psychotic monster named Lotso. And Woody goes, oh shit, I gotta go. I gotta go. Yeah. And he's like, how do you know that? And they're like, well, there's one person here that's made it out. And it's the clown. It's Chuckles the clown, who is just sitting on the windowsill, staring out into the darkness of night. Just the most solemn thing. And then, of course, we get a nice little montage, like I think we have in almost all these movies, well, at least the last couple, where he tells them the story of Lotso. He and Lotso had the same kid, and one day when they were playing out in a field, the kid whose name is Daisy. Daisy fell asleep and accidentally left them behind.
the colors in this whole
That's
scene are just so
beautifully done.
great and like really scary and kind of dark.
Of course, when they finally made it back back to Daisy's house, Lotso looks in and sees that her parents have replaced him. They've bought another Lotso doll. They haven't replaced, important note though, they haven't replaced the clown or baby. They've just replaced Lotso, but Lotso uses this piece of information because he feels slighted and totally torn apart. He tells the other two they've all been replaced.
Don't look in there.
Yeah, they've all been replaced. She doesn't love you anymore. But you know, something has changed. And he goes in and says, that day something changed inside of Lotso. Something snapped. And we see Lotso go nuts and make them all leave. We were all lost, cast off, unloved, unwanted. Then we found Sunnyside. We get that horrifying shot of like it's in the rain, there's thunder, and it's just him standing in front of the Sunnyside sign. And it's like you see the psychosis in his eyes. Let's see. I had
a great villain.
Yeah, he's a great villain. Back at Sunnyside. Oh, sorry. So Lotso took over Sunnyside and rigged the whole thing. New toys, they don't even stand a chance. Woody has a choice to make. Go back to Andy's house and live happily ever after, watching him just furiously abuse his own body in college, or save his friends. Meanwhile, back in Sunnyside, the shit is getting dark because Buzz is the prison guard and Lotso and the gang are essentially what was Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character from Walking Dead?
Negan.
Yeah, it was very Negan-esque. They bring back Mr. P, who was from the sandbox, and he's just like, it was horrifying out there. All there was a couple Lincoln logs. That was it.
I don't think
I don't think those were Lincoln logs. Kids pour back into Sunnyside, including Bonnie, who this is the next day, who brings her backpack. And of course, Woody, being the smart man he is, knows she's going back, hides in the backpack, sneaks out into the ceiling tile, proving once again that if he wants to, toys could rule the world. They could just
Expected him
literally
to
kill us
be
all.
A lot smaller coming out of the backpack.
He's a big guy.
Like when he pops out of the backpack, I was like, oh, he's like the whole size of the backpack.
Basically,
It
Well, the
just
backpack's
looks
small.
Yeah, yeah.
She's a little. She's.
Yeah.
It's not a backpack for like you or me.
It's
a
just
backpack
it's just
for a
like how they
child.
play with proportions and like
Sure.
you know it's
Also,
really
he's-
cool.
shout out to how Woody runs in this entire movie.
Right.
Really adorable.
Yeah.
I put a note that there could be a toys right above us looking down at us right now. No one would know. We never know.
It'd been awesome if you put a toy up there before you said
That would
that.
have been really good.
Woody, of course, peeks into the toddler room and sees his friends getting utterly destroyed. And that's when we get the second best character in this whole thing, the Fisher-Price chatter telephone, who sneaks out from behind the corner and kind of scares him a little bit, but gets his attention. Then the phone starts ringing, and he picks it up. And at first I was like, who's calling on this phone? This is how dumb I was. And I didn't realize that's his voice.
Right.
That's how he talks to people.
The first time watching this, I wasn't sure whose voice it was. I thought it was Michael Keaton for some reason, and I was like, oh, okay, I get that's how he communicates. I get
Right,
it.
and it kind of sounds like when Andy's doing like the snake voice. Like, give me a little bit of this, the Fisher-Price chatter telephone.
I don't know. I mean, it's just
Give me your
Nailed it.
snake
You just
voice.
nailed it. Right? Yeah.
Con.
There you go.
That's perfect. Let's see. He goes, you got to be careful. Lotso has cracked down on security. There's more guards, more patrols. You and your friends ain't ever getting out. And he goes, there's only one way
A lot
toys
more New
leave.
Yorker.
Yeah. Very
Your
much
friends
like
ain't never getting
noir
out.
detective. There's only one way toys leave this place, destroyed. And we look over and we see the trash chute that someone's putting just utterly broken toy into. And Woody's not deterred. And he's like, we got a kid waiting for us. So Chatter tells him the details. And this is when we get
the
escape.
amazing scene.
So what I
man.
love about this is like the second movie was kind of a heist movie where they had to break in and steal something. This movie is a prison break movie.
Yeah.
They got to
yeah.
get out, which
It's
is really,
so
I
really
love
cool.
the shots going through, like showing the monkey, showing like
Yeah.
all the different security
The
cam
monkey's
stuff.
so
Like, the
scary.
baby
Oh my
just
God.
constantly stopping people. Also
I
voiced by
love that.
Megatron.
That's awesome.
Oh, really? The monkey?
yeah.
Wow.
And of course, the monkey serves two purposes. Of course, he's in the security room looking over everything, and he can sound the alarm whenever he sees something. But also, the keys to the doors are in that room.
I guess
So
I
we've
get a
got-
lot of major Saw vibes when I look at the monkey because of the green color grading coming from the emanating from the TV. It's
Yeah.
so freaky.
Well, that style of monkey always freaked me out because there was a movie called Monkey Shine where it was like the
yeah.
doll came to life or something. I could never watch it. I was terrified.
It's also one of
when
the
I was a
hardest bosses in Cuphead, and I hate that thing
That
so
makes
damn
sense.
much.
kid. Let's see. The next day, Woody reunites with the gang and they give him his hat back. Where's Buzz? Well, Buzz is fucked up. He thinks he's a real spaceman again and just like, oh shit. Andy leaves for
Not
college
again.
tomorrow, which means we have to break out of here tonight. Rex says that's impossible. There's no way out of here. And Woody says there is one way out, and he shows him the trash chute.
Toilet.
The toilet. We all got to flush ourselves, and then if
And
we get
it's
stuck,
Finding Nemo. We have
hell.
to flush ourselves.
later that night, Mr. Potato Head gets himself thrown into the sandbox, and he escapes by poking his pokes a little hole in it, and then throws all of his parts out, which I thought was cool. And you're like, what's he gonna do with this? We're gonna figure that out in a second. Meanwhile, as Mr. P is getting out of the sandbox, Barbie distracts Ken by pretending to want to be back in his dream house. She can't take this anymore. She wants it back, and Ken's like, things are all good. Okay, fine. Yeah, you come back. It's great. Let's see. Back in the caterpillar room, Rex and Ham stage a fake fight to distract Buzz while Jesse drops a plastic container over him. He tries to cut a hole in it. He does a great thing where he tries to cut a hole in his laser and run through and just bounces right back off because, of course, the laser is just a light. Woody and Slink attack the monkey and subdue him with scotch tape. They just tape him a bunch.
They almost screwed up.
man.
Yeah.
They almost screwed up because
Scary.
he sees him. That thing is terrifying. They take the keys. Let's see. Jesse slides tortilla under the door, which Mr. P uses to put all.
I love
This
this.
is crazy.
Amazing.
So he uses that to put all of his parts back on and walk around. It's freaky because it kind of looks like a Picasso. Let's see. Barbie, of course, back in the dream house, flips the switch on Ken and kicks his ass and ties him up and starts interrogating him by ripping up his clothes, basically.
I laugh every time though
It's
at the
amazing.
swimming scene when he's like trying on the different clothes and he's
God.
on one foot and he's like, it
so
makes me
good.
laugh every time, dude.
Of course, he breaks and says that they did the thing to him. Somehow he brainwashed him, which is great. The key, of course, slides into the door. Mr. P flashes the all clear, like looks out, sees Lotso sleeping, flashes the all clear. Let's see. Barbie finally gets the answer. She gets the instruction manual from the bookworm. Disguised as the astronaut, which is
So
great.
good.
And then he looks down and sees that she's wearing heels, and he's like, well, okay. That's what he wanted to wear, which is great. I thought that was a nice little moment. Outside, Mr. P is on the ledge and looks over and sees a pigeon. And this is just terrifying because the pigeon just hits him once and then starts hitting him again and like rips him apart. And he falls,
Now,
he
you
falls
might
down.
think I'm joking, but I'm not. That pigeon,
His voice.
voiced by Megatron.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
In his desperation, he looks over and sees a garden and then sees like the silhouette of a cucumber, which is kind of fun. Back in the caterpillar room, they try to reset Buzz, but they mess it up because they have to like put a finger in there and they mess him up and get the Spanish version of
Don't
him.
hold it for 5 seconds.
Hold it for a second. There's
Could
no.
this be funnier? I don't think it could.
It's so good.
great.
What's amazing is that for a kids movie, there's a lot of subtitles in this now because everything he says is subtitled.
Right.
Which if you're a kid, you're like, you're not gonna read that fast. So that's clearly for the adults. That
I remember
are
as a
watching.
kid trying to watch Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It was tough, Nick.
It's
trying to
not
read
easy.
everything at the bottom.
Of course, there's no time. They'll fix him later. So Buzz just has to stay Spanish for right now. And then Mr. P shows up, that's right, as a cucumber. And you know what? He feels fresh. And it's terrible. So they give him his body back. As they're sneaking around the playground, which is being watched over by the terrifying Big Baby, who almost catches them, but they escape. Buzz starts trying to seduce Jessie and starts dancing with her. And it's amazing. And this is when we kind of just figure out that they both really like each other. Woody interrupts, which pisses off Spanish Buzz. And they go up to the chute. But Buzz, let's see, they get to the chute and Buzz decides to open it, which is cool. But he says Buzz Lightyear to the rescue, but it's in Spanish. And as he hangs upside down on the door and it comes down, he goes, abierto. Which means Spanish for open. This is great. Before they can escape, of course, Lotso has caught on to what's going on in the gang. They catch up with them. How did they do it? That's right. They broke the telephone. Literally and figuratively broke the telephone.
He looks
got him
so
to talk.
You know who
Yeah.
I would have loved as Lotso? Brian Cranston. I would have just loved to, like, I feel like Barrett, I feel like the Bryan Cranston days are kind of like, he's at the hot commodity. Breaking Bad's been done for a decade. But if they were to have made a Toy Story around that time, he absolutely would have been kind of like they got Michael Keaton. He would have been one of those kind of Keanu Reeves is in the next one sort of things. Yeah.
Maybe they'll get him for it. Maybe Lotso will come back. He's not
Maybe
dead.
maybe he'll be in Shark Tale too.
Oh,
Wow.
I think there already is a Shark Tale.
Shut the
fuck up. I'll look it up. Hold on.
The telephone, of course, apologizes. He says, "Sorry, cowboy, they broke me." Ken, of course, seeing all this and realizing that he really is, in fact, in love with Barbie, tries to play the mediator here. He goes to stop Lotso and says, "Listen, man, Sunnyside could be a real groovy place. We could just, it's Lotso's fault. Like, if it wasn't for Lotso, he's trying to make this pyramid where he's at the top. We could all live happily ever after with each other." But his people aren't buying it. Woody calls him out about Daisy, of course, says she only replaced Lotso, not Baby. Like he finally tells Baby that she was waiting for you, and Baby gets pissed off, starts crying, which is freakish, and then throws Lotso into the
After
dumpster.
Lotso smashes the little Daisy name tag, which I thought was
Very Vader Emperor-esque.
Yeah, that was really, really
you're
fun.
right.
She picks him up and throws him in. But of course, before they can escape, Woody notices that I think it was one of the aliens is stuck in the garbage man, goes to save him, and then Lotso pulls him in as well.
Terrifying.
Very, very terrifying. The whole gang tries to rescue them, but they get sucked into the back of the garbage truck and they all get thrown in there. Of course, it's dark in there, but who do we see? Buzz glowing, which is great. Spanish
it.
Buzz, still glowing. Buzz looks for Jessie, who is stuck underneath some trash, and he goes, "Senorita." He rescues her, but that's not. But overhead, a TV comes shattering down on him, and it's sad because it shatters.
throws Jesse,
Yeah, that's
saves
right.
her.
It shatters his helmet, which sucks. When he wakes up.
No, I think just the glass broke.
It was just the glass in the TV.
Oh,
Helmet's
I
fine.
thought his helmet like shattered.
No, because he's okay.
Yeah,
later.
he ends
It's
up going
plastic.
later
It's
on.
fine.
When he wakes up, Buzz is back, which is great. So it's been reset, which is cool. And then they go, "Where the hell are we now?" They look out and they're in this just vast wasteland of a dump. And then off in the distance, we see a gigantic crane. And who do we hear? The aliens. They go, "The Claw."
Oh, God.
They start taking off, and Mrs. P freaks out, and they got to go after him. Before they do, this machine comes and sweeps them onto this
Jesus.
conveyor belt of death. And this is where we get a scene where I'm like, I don't know if this is appropriate for children
Not.
anymore.
None of this is appropriate for me.
Yeah.
Lotso, of course, it should be noted, is also in the scene, and he gets stuck under garbage. So what happens is they look up and they start
They all
realizing
grab
that
metal.
Yeah, the metal is being magnetized and being sucked up, so everything else could get shredded. So Woody and Buzz go grab metal. Everyone grabs metal except for Lotso, and Woody, instead of letting just Lotso just shred himself,
They help
It has
him.
to be the hero. Jumps down. He and Buzz go and help him. Lotso gets carried up.
Fucking Woody, man.
Everything else
Come
gets
on.
shredded. Lotso runs down, realizes that there's they're going toward this bright thing. They all think it's outside. It's not outside. It is the seventh circle of hell. That's
Yes.
what it is. It is a lava pit that's just going to burn everything alive. Similar again to the end of Terminator 2, where he goes and burns himself.
Gears of War.
Right, of course, Lotso is the first one to spot that there's a stop mechanism up there, and goes, "Woody, help me up." Woody, being just the complete dumb shit that he is, everyone's like, "Oh, well, this guy clearly flipped a switch. He's going to help us, right?" They help him get up there, and what does he do? Betrays them again.
Fails.
I felt
Just
like
goes.
all of them could have gotten on that thing that Lotso escaped on. Like
was
that
the
little-
closest.
Titanic
though.
situation.
But he was already up there, like hanging on the ladder or whatever.
Oh, so they had already gone past it by this point.
Yeah, and so they like
Well,
ran
no,
back up.
yeah,
and then
Buzz and Woody go and
pushed,
help
They
him
just
push
pushed him
up.
up.
Yeah, I just feel like they all could have,
Right.
Probably.
just
He says like,
sneaky
"Where's your kid
bullshit
now,
in there.
Sheriff?"
Yeah, he says he looks over and screams, "Where's your kid now?" And that's just terrifying. And then the gang,
Fucking
they
And
they're-
that-
jerk off mode.
and, so, and that's like, at this point, you're like, oh, something else is going to happen before they fall in this giant
Right.
lava pit. No,
No,
they fall
no,
into the
they go
lava
in the
pit.
lava pit.
And what happens? One by one, they start accepting their fate by
The
joining
score here.
hands.
The score.
You hear the dun dun.
It's like, oh,
Dun,
okay.
dun.
Oh, they're just doing this.
They go-
The first time I saw this movie, I was like, it's about to end. This
Yeah.
is just the end of the movie. I can't
The
believe
first time you
this.
see it, you're just like, I've run out of options. Like,
Yeah.
I have no idea how they're getting out of this.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
you're
so
literally
scary.
seeing a sea of shredded trash just float into this lava pit and just get burned alive.
And them grabbing each
And they
other's
grab each other's
hands.
hands.
And the looks
Now-
that
yeah.
Buzz gives Woody
Yeah.
when he's just
Yeah.
like, hey, man, it's over.
I lose it when
What?
Bullseye is like straggling, and then Jesse just like
On his
puts her
hoof.
hand.
Oh, my
and,
God. I hate it.
And then they all
I
are
hate
just
it.
like, this is it, but we're together, so I guess that's all we
Holding
have.
hands
Ride
as they
together,
ride
die together,
into
dude.
oblivion.
Thanks for not listening to me, guys. This is Woody's final.
Yeah. I don't want to say
Pricks.
I don't want to say I told you so. We could be sitting in a nice, comfy, cool attic right now if it wasn't for you idiots.
But Woody closing his eyes, the final shot where you see all of them, he closes his
my God,
eyes,
my
and
heart
then you
hurts.
get
So dramatic.
the claw.
So
And then
sad.
the sky opens and a giant silhouette with blue light behind it comes in, and what do we see? The claw.
I swear to God,
It's
I
so
feel like this entire movie was written just because someone had the idea of this moment, and they're like, I guess we got to come
We
up
have
with
to
a
get
plot
here.
around
How
this.
did I
Like,
get there?
Of course, the
But
claw
the
comes
aliens
down.
leaving is so subtle. You forget that they're gone.
forgot they're
gone,
And then
yeah.
you're just like, oh my God, yes.
It's
And then
so
They went
like,
to get the claw.
perfect.
God, it's
Now,
so smart.
I need to bring this up. I've talked about this on hundreds of shows at this point, but one of my favorite internet videos of all time is this one fucked up kid that edited the movie so that it just went Woody closes his eyes and then the credits play. And watched it with his mom and his little brother. And they thought that was Toy Story 3.
Oh my God.
And like there's video footage you can find of
I
them.
haven't seen
and
that.
you hear the mom just go, no, just start
really
crying.
funny. That's
It's
really
so funny.
Oh
That would
my
be
God.
just the best ending for this whole series. It's just like a Shakespearean drama. It's just tragedy.
Andy,
God, it's so
I
good.
have an important update for you. No Shark Tale 2 yet. But
Bryan Cranston, come
in
on.
2011, they said, when they were asked about a sequel for Shark Tale, they said, we don't have anything like that coming on our schedule
And
now.
Will Smith coming fresh off the heat of Aladdin, right?
50
Let's
hours.
do it.
There we go.
Daddy loves you.
The crane
loves
sets
you.
them down nicely, and we get a nice little scene with Mr. P where he kind of, I don't know if he has accepted these as his children before, but he finally does now. He goes, my boys, because the aliens have saved him.
Also,
we're
shout out to
eternally
all the
grateful.
all the little particles, the 3D objects that make up all the garbage. It just looks like
very
they,
well
they
done.
did a really great job, kind of.
Yeah, they
You
really
just
did.
want to run your hand through them and pick up all the. Well, because they look like little pieces of wood and plastic and stuff. I don't
That's
know.
good. Yeah, get some tetanus while you're at
Yeah.
it. Meanwhile, Lotso is trying to escape, but who does he get picked up by? A garbage man, that's right, who ties him to the front grill of one of the trucks.
Smells them too.
He smells him. He's like, oh, yeah, lots of berries. Strawberries. Ties him in, and then there's other toys there that are like, hey, shut your mouth because you're going to be just in for a life of getting bugs in your mouth, which is exactly what that piece of shit deserves. The gang decides to go back where they belong to Andy's, but he's halfway across town. So how do we get there in time? They look over and they see a garbage truck, which I thought was going to come back into play. I thought we were going to get another scene where the garbage truck was like on the curb, but we never did.
Oh, like the fun train.
We just
gotta
get
get
back there. It's yeah.
I was
it's been-
hoping it was going to be. I mean, I know I had already seen this one, but I was hoping they'd talk to Sid.
This is where the third
I thought it
act
was going to be like
begins.
Sid's, you know.
and since
Sid's
finally, like-
redemption.
yeah, that would have been
need to go
amazing.
back.
You know what? You terrified me, that cowboy, but you need help right now? I learned my lesson.
But
Back into the lava pit with you fucking piece of shit, kid.
It's still kind of cool though that it kind of came full circle that he was the thing that brought them back home. You know,
It's like
I just love
Cersei
it.
dying in Jamie's arms.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, either way, they get back to Andy's house. They're all covered in gook, so they use a garden hose to wash
That's
themselves
cute.
off, which is cute. As when they get back into Andy's room, they all climb into the box marked attic, all except for Woody, who goes to climb back into the college box, and they say their goodbyes. Buzz is the last, of course, and he says, "You know where to find us, cowboy." And Woody kind of salutes him as he heads back into the college box. And then Andy comes back in with his mother, and they share a touching moment. She wishes she could have always been there with Andy, and he says, "You will be. You know, I'm not dying. I'm just going to college and you know, hopefully discovering myself." Woody realizes.
Sexually.
Yeah, of course.
And
It goes
alcoholically.
without.
You know what I mean?
Goes without.
He's been
Yeah.
getting a lot of practice, you know, in the
Man.
fucking room.
That thing is
Has he?
numb. Woody gets a great idea though and realizes what he needs to do. He sneaks out and writes a quick post-it note and slaps it on the attic box. And Andy comes back in and reads it. And he says, "Hey mom, do you think I should really donate these?" And his mom's like, "Whatever you want to do. You know, this crazy shit happened in your room. Just don't ask questions or the toys will fucking murk you. They will murder you." Of course, Andy. Then we're like, "Oh, we thinking they're gonna bring him back to the daycare center. That of course now is gonna be a cool place." No. And he has a better idea of where he's going to donate them. He drives them over to Bonnie's
Well,
house.
technically, it's Woody's idea, right?
Well, I guess it was Woody's idea.
Woody
yeah.
just put the address down of Bonnie.
Yeah, that makes
Again,
sense.
the only person with a fucking brain in this movie, Woody.
Bonnie.
Jesus.
Well, and Bonnie, actually.
Guess what? At the start of Toy Story 4, I'm going to be really mean and not believe Woody. And at the end of it, I'll be like, oh, man, shucks, I should have listened.
Bonnie, of course, is out in the yard playing, and Andy has a touch. This is a really great scene. Where Andy just
all
brings
of
the toys
this.
over, and he's like, he introduces Bonnie to the old toys, and he says Jesse, Bullseye, Rex, Potato Head, Slink, Ham, the aliens, and Buzz Lightyear, the coolest toy of them all. And then when he brings out Woody, Bonnie freaks out because she recognizes him. She goes, "Oh, my cowboy!" And Andy has a moment where he's like, "I'm gonna keep Woody for myself," and then realizes now as I should. Bonnie clearly this is the right thing to do, and gives her over, and then says, "Now you got to promise to take care of this guy. They all mean a lot to me." Including Woody, who he says, is like has been there with him forever and is loyal. And it's a really.
So
really
the one
touching
thing
scene.
about Woody is he'll never give up on you.
Yeah, I'll never get up on you. Let's
I
see.
can't.
Yeah.
Are you like what the fuck? Like, has there ever been a more powerful scene in cinematic history? Not to me, at least. Holy shit! I can see this 1,000 times, and I'm still gonna cry just as much. Right now, I'm trying to hold it back. This shit's too real, man.
I think Gandalf saving everyone was pretty good.
Not this good
Return of
though.
the King.
Yeah, and this is really
Remember
time and
when
Andy.
How did you know that name? Like they got you because they both had mothers named Martha.
You're right. You're right.
Right, exactly. So Andy tells Bonnie Woody is special to him because he's loyal no matter what.
You didn't need to highlight
What?
this. I saw it. And that's when I started cracking up. Nick's got Nick.
He always has a line.
Nick reading the room on how like Tim's about to cry. Now it's all serious. Maybe I'll just keep rolling. What Nick has here is like I'll read it with the first part and I'll tell you when it starts that what he cut out. For a moment, Andy pulls the toy away from Bonnie. It's when she recites his drawstring line, "There's a snake in my boot," that Andy realizes it's time to let Woody go. Here's the next line. "Plus, that thing is a vagina repellent. And if you ever want someone other than Rex to massage his pee-pee, you should probably stop." What's wrong?
You should probably stop bringing toys everywhere with him, Greg. Greg.
God damn it.
Man,
Every time there's always one line.
Nice moment, dude.
Anyone but Rex.
Oh my God.
You're not normal.
So they have one last playtime together, which is really, really touching. And then at the end of the day, Andy gets back in his car where he waves back at Bonnie, and she stands on the porch waving back at him, but with Woody's arm, which is great. He takes one last look at his childhood toys and says, "Thanks, guys."
He says, "Thanks, guys."
And
It's
Woody,
like, can you just stop?
and
So
Woody
long, partner.
looks back at him and says,
So long, partner.
Oh, no.
long.
Oh no.
And then a
Really
donkey.
good.
And then the mule comes out, kicks Bonnie in the fucking face.
Of course, the camera kind of cranes up back
Bonnie
into the
doesn't have a
clouds.
dad too.
Where we
so-
started.
Holy shit. This goes deeper.
The camera cranes up as Woody goes, "Hey, I got to introduce you guys all to Bonnie's toys," and they all get introduced and stuff like that. And then we get a great credit scene where I thought we were going to get more outtakes, and I was like, I don't think we need more of these, but no, this is a post-credit scene, or actually mid-credit scene, or credit scene, I guess, where there's the Zurg toy gets delivered, but it's the new and improved Sunnyside Daycare that is in fact new and groovy because it's being run by Ken and Barbie.
Michael
and
Keaton
it's
holding it down.
fantastic. And then we see the army men reporting for duty at Sunnyside. They've landed. They've been in the air the whole time. For a long
No,
time.
they've been just blown town to town. If you would have played Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep 2.8, you would have totally seen it.
Exactly.
Where they got farted out the window, and then Nikki was like, "Oh, help with my tires!" And they were like,
That is absolutely
There's no
correct.
sound
Right there.
effects.
Yeah.
That's canon.
Keyblade for some
100%.
reason.
No sound effects.
We get
joke.
We get a great scene where they throw a dance party, and Ken is actually a good leader. And there's a new Randy Newman song, which I think was one they stole from Lion King or whatever. And then Squid sneaks a note in from the Sunnyside to
Why do you
them.
have them on
So
the show?
we get that they're all
know.
communicating back and forth through Bonnie's backpack. They're all sending notes back into each other. Bullseye plays some Spanish music so Jesse can seduce Buzz. Because Buzz is like, I don't know what's happening right here, but Buzz immediately starts dancing because he's got some Spanish
Killing
blood
says,
it.
"Just
And it's
go
not
with
just
it,
some
Buzz."
Spanish music. It's "You've Got a Friend in Me" in Spanish.
in Spanish.
I love it.
Great final scene, and then the credits roll, and that is all. she wrote.
you boy.
But it's in
In
Spanish.
Spanish.
Say it in Spanish.
I don't know how to say that.
You've got a friend in me.
¿Qué pasa,
Tú tienes un
amigo?
amigo, and I don't know.
And me.
I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
like
how it
the
goes.
exact like lyrics. I don't know if it like, you know, if you put it in Google Translate, it's gonna come out wrong. You know,
Is enemigo a real thing?
an amigo.
Yeah. Is that how you say
Or
enemy in
enemigo.
Spanish? Because at some point they said, "Are you friend or enemy?"
Oh, really?
Are you,
I don't remember.
are you
I'm
amigo
really
or
bad at Spanish.
I think the
enemigo?
way
That's a
is
Kevin question.
un amigo en me. I think that's
Really?
You've got a friend in me.
You got
yeah,
a
that is how it
friend
says.
in me.
Kevin.
I just hear Kevin yelling it on the phone. That's the only the only Spanish I hear these days.
Can you get on the shock mic real quick?
What's up, dude?
How do you say you have a friend in me in Spanish?
Tú tienes un amigo
Like in
In
the
me?
song.
in me, right?
But that sounds weird.
It sounds weird. That's what I'm saying.
I would imagine it's they
Just
would
play
say
it.
with
Play
me,
the song.
conmigo, right?
Oh, really?
That's what they said in the movie.
And how do you say
How do you
enemy?
say enemy
They say
in Spanish?
enemy.
Enemy.
Is enemigo?
Enemigo.
Yeah.
It is enemigo.
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that.
It's B-A-U, boy.
You got a
That's
bubble
really good.
All right, now it's time for haiku in review.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review. It always ends weirdly.
gotta say everybody.
Damn
Now
it.
stop.
Ignacio Rojas writes in, says, "What a great send-off. I'm not crying. You're crying. Fuck it. I'm crying."
Yeah.
Nanobiologist says, "Men crying is okay during a funeral and Toy Story 3's end." Andrew Mendoza says, "Monday
Putting
night,
his foot down.
I'm sad.
Make you cry.
Ring, ring, mom. Where are my toys? Curse you, Pixar. Curse you." That's it. What a fucking... oh.
Just dealing with aging and knowing that your childhood will never come back to you. It's just like shit like that always ruins me.
Yeah,
This
well,
is just such a perfect way to put that into a
Yeah,
story.
to
With
put that-
characters that we love.
Oh my god.
I watched it over the weekend, and Alyssa was kind of paying attention throughout. And at the end, she started paying attention again and started really getting emotional because she sees a lot of the kind of commentary in here as a one-to-one metaphor for teachers and like having to let children go and let them grow up and
And
stuff
they
like
grow
that.
up, yeah.
Yeah, and so like at the end when she like remembers like what that means to her as a teacher, she just like fucking lost it. Along with me, it was just like a room full of crying people.
When Andy's mom says bye to Andy, like when
Yeah.
she hugs him, like when he's leaving or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, guys, my mom did the same thing
Yeah,
to me when
when she looks at
when I
his
got my
room.
apartment in Austin, and she was just like, my mom just broke down. You know.
When she looks at the room, like the empty room, and she's
Yeah,
like, oh my
She
god,
has that
like, yeah.
realization. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was going to college, my mom was like, you can always come home. But she said it more like a threat. Like, don't fuck up. I was like, all right.
Oh man! All right, it's time to rank and review Toy Story.
Toy.
Rag and Dagger.
We're ranking and reviewing. Story 3.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys, the podcast within a podcast where we rank all the villains of the Toy Story cinematic universe. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Belinda Garcia and the Hispanic heartthrob Andy Cortez.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
You having fun?
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Today we got to figure out where we putting Lotsa. Lotsa, got to get on this
Lotsa.
list. Somewhere, all right?
Lots of.
Lots of-
Number 1, right now we have it as Prospector / Al from Toy Story 2.
Got it.
Number 2, we have Woody / Mr. P Head / Sid from Toy Story 1. Now, I got to say,
I think Lotsa goes number 1.
Lotsa's got to go number 1.
What do you think, Melinda?
I think he goes after Prospector. I think Prospector was the creepiest
Really?
one for me.
Lotsa was the most evil from the jump. Like, we knew he was
Right.
the bad guy. He was the antagonist. He was out there to stop him. Prospector doesn't really make himself known till the end of the movie.
Which is what scares me the most because you're like, yeah, he's cool, like whatever. And then the box reveal.
The villain hiding in plain sight type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think there was a little bit of that with Lotsa as well, where
For a brief moment, yeah,
little
until he
bit.
tells him to strap him back to the chair, right?
Yeah.
I thought his origin story was better, too, of why he was angry and why he was evil.
I just,
right? Being replaced by
I
Daisy.
think what made him scarier to me is that the fact that he had so much power over so many
Sure.
people.
Yeah.
Where Prospector, it was like, he kind of had a few people kind of, brainwashed or whatever.
A little bit, yeah.
But with Lotsa, he was like, he's
Lotsa's
the,
Negan, man. It's terrifying.
yeah, he's
that is-
ruling this with an
yeah.
iron fist, and
Yeah.
anybody underneath him, anybody who questions
He'll
anything,
break anybody
There's
he
a
needs
little
to break.
sadism in this too. Like he's a little bit of like he wants to see these toys punished. He wants to.
And we
see
don't know
them
what he's done
punished.
to like previous toys.
Yeah.
That has come
knows?
and gone.
He's my number one.
I'd vote number 1, too.
I vote him number one.
All right. So then, the current list stands at number 1, Lotsa. Number 2, Prospector / Al.
okay
Number
with
3,
that.
Woody / P Head / Sid.
He had.
There you go. We'll
I was
see.
on the P head.
Mr. DH.
I was on the P head from the beginning. I was like, he's an asshole.
Yeah, he
From the
is. I mean,
beginning.
he remains. The biggest dickhead in Toy Story is P Head. Like, we've decided
He's
that.
the character where like you're watching a series of a season of a TV show. You're like, just kill him off already. Like I can't wait for this dude to die.
I know, just get out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No,
Alright,
he's a
that's it.
fucking cucumber or whatever.
No, he's back to being
back,
he's back
yeah.
to being a potato.
Now it's time to rank the Toy Story cinematic universe. The current
Toy.
rankings are.
Barrett, bring up the graphic.
Andy,
I
you
said
didn't
ranking.
make one.
Oh,
Number 1 is Toy Story 2, and number 2 is Toy Story
Story 1.
1.
Yeah.
Wow, how does that work? Now we need to figure out where we're putting Toy Story 3. First off, let's just have a little discussion. Toy Story 3. What are our thoughts?
It's great.
I think it's as
perfect
good as a
movie.
Pixar movie can be. Like, I think it's a phenomenal front to back, character-wise, story-wise, the way it makes you feel. I think it's just one of the best Pixar movies ever.
For me to play devil's advocate on this one, though, I had more fun watching Toy Story 2 than this one. This one's actually a good movie, but for a kid's like a cartoon fun adventure movie, I just thought Toy Story 2 was moved faster, so much more fun, had more laugh out loud moments and like comedic scenes in it. It was goofier. This one is like just a dark, fucked up like look into the reality of what it means to grow up and age and die and dealing with loss. Jesus. And so like I think this is a much better movie overall, but for Toy Story, I'd rather go back and watch Toy Story 2. I thought it was more fun.
Like rewatchable movies, like you can put on Toy Story 1 or 2 and like feel good about it, but like for 3 you have to brace yourself. Like you know you're gonna cry, you know it's gonna be a whole trip, you're gonna feel all these feelings. But I think Toy Story 3 is perfect. I think it's a perfect movie. I think you feel everything you want to feel in a movie. You feel scared, you feel happy, you feel excited, you feel sad. Yeah.
Spanish Buzz, man.
That's good.
There's nothing in the whole franchise to me that's as funny as Spanish Buzz. I feel like it's just the perfect amount. Like I remember it being longer than it was, and I'm happy it's not. It's like rewatching. I'm like, there's about 10 minutes of it. I'm like, this is just so great.
Also, Michael Keaton, fantastic.
So the voice cast was
great.
so good. There's always
Really
has
good
been
in this one.
in the movies, but I feel like this one really was the best. I just think that the plot is just so airtight and it's just so creative and cool. And every single like the Toy Story's always been good about kind of like making kind of like metaphors and all this shit. And I feel like this one really like took it a step up where it's like I was saying earlier about the claw being like this moment where like they must have wrote the whole movie around this, but like I feel like so many different things are like, wow, they just nailed this where the 10 years later dealing with the toys, how they began the movie, how they ended the movie. It's like every single plot point just like hits exactly where it needs to. And it kind of keeps you guessing as you're going through where it's like, it's not clear what's going to happen.
You
like,
never feel very safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely.
But yeah,
love it.
structure-wise, it's great. I mean, you mentioned the claw, right? But the claw comes up not once, but twice before, right? It comes up when they see the claw the first time, and then we see it again off in the distance. And that's really, really good screenwriting right there because you remember it without remembering it. It's in your subconscious that we've seen the claw before, so it's an important thing. But we don't necessarily know how it's going to play in, and that's very gratifying at the end when they come say it.
When it does, you're like, fuck, they're clever.
And that's just really just a testament to how well they iterate these stories when they're writing them and how well they just craft the stories first as either before they start shooting, well, I guess rendering in this one, or as they're going. They really are great at story.
The characters are so great. They always have been. I think the biggest accomplishment this movie has going for it is it's the second sequel. And it's like, it's this good.
Yeah.
And I feel like they just paid off on every single thing that the other movies built so well. Like the moment of Bo Peep being gone. It's like, you can't have that without having a perfect legacy going into it. I just love it
They also
much.
introduce so many new characters and flawlessly. Like you're like, oh my gosh, there's a whole new band of characters, but you feel
I never felt like it was
it
too
feels
much.
natural. Yeah, exactly.
Toy Story 4, man. I just don't
I think
know
that's
how
where
it's
it's
got
Got its
gonna-
work cut out for itself.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's going to be crazy because I remember going into 3 feeling the same way. I'm like, I
good.
liked where 2
Yeah.
ended. Like, I don't know that I need more from this. And I was totally wrong. So I hope that happens again.
Yeah.
Time to vote for this movie. Who thinks it's better than Toy Story 1? Raise your hand. We all raise our hand. Who thinks it's better than Toy Story 2? Raise your hand. We all raise our hand except for Nick. Ladies and gentlemen, the new ranking of Toy Story in review. Number 1, Toy Story 3. Number 2, Toy Story 2. Number 1, Toy Story 1. Keeping it nice and
There
clean.
it is.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1.
I thought you just said number 1 Toy Story.
I
1.
did, but you
making
know what
sure.
I mean. You number 1, Toy Story 3. Number 2, Toy Story 3.
Man's got to call us out on
It's hard. No, it's hard. I don't have visuals, Andy. God.
bullshit.
It's weird
Next
'cause-
week.
Rex touching his pee-pee.
No, make the noise again,
Because the
Nick.
hands make it look bigger.
Well, it's even better when you think about Booksmart, right?
What?
What do you mean, book smart or bookworm?
Oh, stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week
Jesus.
is Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
God, I don't know if I'm going to invite Nick back, though, but we'll see.
He's the one that does it. He's the enabler.